We all know the feeling. You come in, you sit down, you pick up the phone, you think to yourself, I'm going to create something great today. You open your favorite app and you start looking for ideas. Maybe it's a trending sound, maybe it's a concept for a video, maybe you're just searching for inspiration for color grading or cinematic filming techniques. But next thing you know, an hour has passed mindlessly scrolling on your phone and you've done absolutely nothing. Sound familiar? It certainly does to me. This has happened to me time and time again when it comes to trying to create my own content. Now, undoubtedly, social media can be the great freedom earner. You can create what you want on your device and then build a business on top of that, or build just an audience on top of that, and construct a revenue stream, a system of income for yourself that provides for you and for your family, all built on top of doing the thing that you love. But the same tools that allow us to earn this time and creative and financial freedom can also destroy us if we let them. Now, this is a big, bold problem. I'm no expert. I certainly don't have all the answers here. However, I have managed to build a business with multiple revenue streams, all on top of using my phone, using my computer, using my devices to put content on the internet, all while doing my utmost to prevent that content and those platforms from sort of consuming me in return. So if you're after something similar, whether it's building and scaling a one-person business, a multi-person organization, or just becoming a successful content creator, here are 3 things that I have discovered in my journey that I think might help you find that balance for yourself. Now, the first and kind of single most important and impactful thing that I have learned about using social media to my benefit and using my phone specifically is to limit my exposure to actually consuming on my app of choice. Now, I personally love Instagram and YouTube. Those are the ones that I lean into, though I will say I am starting to fall in love with Threads more. It's kind of a positive community. There's no doom scrolling like there is on Twitter. All the news outlets aren't on there, at least not on my side of it. So anyway, if you like Threads, if you're on Threads, if you're not on Threads, hop on over to Threads, come find me, come chat with me. It's a lot of fun. Maybe the internet won't destroy it quite yet. Until then, let's have a good time. Anyway, all that aside, the thing that I have learned is to just sort of limit my exposure to the apps of my choice. And this sounds like an easy thing to do, but it's really not if you keep the apps on your phone. About a year ago, our church here just south of Nashville, Tennessee, we did this series called Digital Detox. And basically it was turning your smartphone into a dumb phone for 40 days to see kind of how your life might be enriched. So you could keep specific apps on your phone like camera, weather, the phone itself, text messages, stuff like that. You weren't required to participate, right? But you were encouraged to delete all of these sort of mind-grabbing consumption style apps. So getting rid of YouTube, getting rid of Twitter, getting rid of Instagram, which I will admit Instagram was very difficult for me to get rid of, but I eventually got rid of that as well. And then you take all of the time that you spend creating and even consuming and using social media, using media and technology and stuff, and you move all that to your desktop computer and you do your best to only use those tools or consume content during work hours and for work purposes. And then when the day is done, you shut it off. You don't have all the stuff on your phone anymore. So when you go home at night and you're spending time with your family, your boyfriend, girlfriend, your friends, whatever, you're not as distracted. And the idea behind it is that you would see a tremendous change from day 0 to day 40. So I jumped into this kind of with both feet. I was terrified about what would happen because my whole life is built on the internet. Well, I say my whole life, my whole business for sure. Like my family's income depends on the internet. It depends on social media. It depends on my websites and all the technology, little loops and stuff that I've built, all the funnels and things I've crafted. Like all that's technology that lives on the internet. And that's how my family eats. It's how we keep the power on. I was kind of terrified to do this because I thought, well, what if I accidentally destroy my livelihood by deleting these apps? But the strangest thing happened. It enriched my life so much more, and I was able to clear up a lot of my mind, my brain power. I wasn't as anxious. I wasn't as rushed in my life. And then when I would sit down here, well, it was in my old studio, but when I would sit down at my desk to work, it was with a purpose. And I was able to have a much better relationship with social media and with the apps that I use on desktop than I did on my phone. Now, I will admit it took me a little bit to sort of get my creative feet back under me because I was used to doing certain things on my phone and I had to figure out how to do that on desktop. But I discovered a lot of avenues for actually creating and putting up content, posting content online through desktop, some of which I didn't even know about. So this whole process sort of helped me to establish this rule in my life that I continue to do my utmost to abide by, which is if I can't do it on my computer, I don't do it at all. Now, once I made the switch from deleting all the apps off of my phone, which again, let me reiterate, was terrifying, I sort of figured out that I could come at social media and come at creating content a bit differently. And that was with intention. So when stuff was on my phone, I would pick up my phone frequently and just mindlessly doom scroll, not even meaning to. It was like a compulsive behavior. If I got bored, I'd pick up the phone. If I was waiting somewhere, like at a doctor's office or just for my car to get serviced or whatever, I pick up the phone, right? Taking my kids to Taekwondo, pick up the phone. And when I removed all the apps, that compulsive behavior was no longer available to me. So when I sit down here at this desk and I decide it's time to make something, I do that with a lot more intention than I do with compulsion. To put it into actionable steps that I try my best to stick to and take, there are two things. So the first thing I do is whenever I open a social media app, if I'm consuming, I am there to learn. I'm not there to be entertained. I'm not there to just pass the time. I'm there to learn something. So I'm always trying to find creators that I can follow who I can learn something from. And I will test people from time to time. I find somebody's content that I like. Sometimes I will just jump into, like, say, the Reels feed on Instagram and I'll just scroll to see if I find somebody whose content I enjoy. If I do, then I'll follow them. And then if I continue to get value from their content, then I will continue to follow them. And if I don't, then I'll unfollow, and that's okay. People do it to me all the time. Totally cool. And the second thing I do is I always take notes. I am constantly taking notes, both on my phone, and then I carry around this little pocket notebook that I use for note taking all the time. So I try to lean into actually writing, even though my handwriting is just like chicken scratch and I can barely read it half the time. I still try to lean into actually writing by hand because I find that moves at a pace that is more in sync with how fast my brain should be going. If I'm typing stuff, my brain is just going 90 miles an hour trying to remember stuff or write stuff down. But if I write it down with a pen and paper, it forces me to slow down. My brain works at a more, let's say, thoughtful pace, and I can get down ideas in more detail and have time to process them as I'm writing them. And I just end up with a richer set of ideas. And then later on, when it's time to actually create stuff, I have this whole well of content ideas that I can pull from. Learning from social media, keeping a journal, keeping ideas, a content bank. Both of those are now my goal whenever I use any of these platforms. So now that I've sort of adjusted my behavior by getting stuff off of my phone and I've sort of organized my thought process about how I come at it to learn and I'm taking ideas, the primary actionable step that I have created on the other side of these habit changes is to change how I create content sort of universally. I believe the highest leverage thing that any musician, content creator, business owner, whatever can do is to create a lot of content and post a lot of content. I get pushback on this pretty much every time I say it, and I understand why. I totally get it. But I do believe if you can post every single day, if you can release a song once a week, you should do that, because every single piece of content that any of us puts out into the world, whether it be a video, music, a post on Threads, a picture, whatever, those are all teeny tiny little assets. They're all little cogs in a wheel that are building a system to essentially store the way you think, the way you feel, the message you want to put out into the world, to store that digitally and then leverage the power of the internet on your behalf. It used to be that if I wanted to share this message, I would have to tell people individually. But now I can record this video and it will get tens, hundreds, thousands, maybe tens or hundreds of thousands of watch hours across the planet. And I only had to do this one time. That's digital leverage. And that is the opportunity and the possibility with every single piece of content that we put out into the world. So the more we can do that, obviously the better that is. It's more shots at the net. It's more opportunity to connect with people, to inspire people, to educate them, and to hopefully, depending on the message you're putting out into the world, make the world a better place. Now, I think the primary reason I get pushback on this, especially when it comes to releasing music frequently, is that it seems impossible. And I totally get where that's coming from. Because if you are trying to film a video, edit a video, post a video, write a song, record a song, mix a song, master a song, and do that every single day, yeah, it's going to be impossible. You're going to have a really difficult time doing it. I can't do that. But the thing that I have discovered is batching every step in the process. So rather than trying to film, edit, upload, write, record, and do that all in sort of one linear process, now I try to set aside time to do each of those. So if it's time to film, I film all my videos at once, whether that's for the week, the next couple of weeks, the month. I have tested different strategies with this. Right now I'm doing stuff once a week. So I have a filming session once a week. I'll have an editing session once a week. I'll have a writing session once a week. And this allows me to not only move more quickly, but it dials in systems faster. So I can repeat what I do over and over again. If I am filming 5 videos in a row, I'm in filming mode. Like, I'm not worried about the edit. I'm not worried about the description or the captions or whatever, or posting it or the thumbnail, the title. I'm only focused on filming, and I can move a lot faster when I do that. If you can batch your content and batch each step, it just makes life a lot richer, and it makes the end product, in my opinion, a lot stronger. You learn and iterate a lot more quickly than you would if you're doing it in a linear fashion. Now, the learning curve for me when it came to batching and scheduling in advance and all that stuff really was wrapping my head around thinking about content in advance. So to do that, I have to make sure that whatever it is I'm making has a little bit of an evergreen nature to it, which means it's long lasting. So if it's discoverable now, it will still be discoverable 3 months from now, hopefully 3 years from now, right? I can't be a content creator who is reactionary, like keeping up with the news cycle or the latest updates or whatever. So I just try not to do that. It's easy to get sort of roped into the idea of it from time to time. And I do make a video from time to time where I'm like, oh, this just happened. But that's not as fun, and it doesn't help me think in advance. So I try to stay away from that side of things. Once I figured out how to start thinking in advance and start planning in advance, the whole system just got a lot easier. And I was able to create stuff that actually I'm more proud of at the end of the day. So if you want to win the content creator social media game, but you don't want to be the person who gets sucked into it and consumed by it, hopefully this video has helped you. Hopefully it has given you a bit of a window into how I think about it, and will give you a bit of kind of a process and a guide to help you to find your path, whether you're creating a business, a music catalog, just building a content system of your own, or whatever your goals are. I hope this serves you well. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want to go deeper with topics just like this, I hope you'll subscribe to my newsletter, The One Thing. Every single Tuesday, I send out one thing that I am thinking about, a high leverage idea I'm toying with, or even using myself, that I want to share with you to help you on your journey as a creator, artist, musician, or whatever your endeavor is. So if you do want to sign up for that, I'll leave a link in the description of this video. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.